It was a toy paradise. There were aisles and aisles of fun. And if you got lost, there was always Geoffrey the Giraffe to help you out. It vanished. So what happened? In this video, we'll uncover the truth behind the fall of Toys R Us. By the 1980s and 1990s, Toys R Us became the go-to destination for all things fun. Kids begged their parents to bring them to the huge stores where they could see all the latest toys and games. And parents loved the brand too, because they knew they could get the best prices and the biggest selection. 2 years later, all of its U.S. stores were closed, and over 30,000 people lost their jobs. One of the last remaining Toys R Us locations in the U.S. was in Honolulu. Well, for starters, we should never underestimate the power of change. You can still find some small-scale relaunches in places like Macy's, where they have pop-up shops during the holiday season. There are also a few Toys R Us stores in Canada, but the core experience is gone. No more giant giraffe statues or sprawling aisles. The retail industry has been completely transformed by the internet, and companies that have failed to adapt have paid the price. But that's all right, because there's always a little bit of darkness inside of us. Childhood is much like that. When we look back at our younger years, we often feel a sense of nostalgia and sentimentality. It can feel like a simpler time, a time before the weight of adulthood had dulled our senses. As we get older, we tend to idealize the past, remembering only the good times and forgetting the bad. We remember the feeling of playing outside until sunset, the excitement of getting a new toy, the comfort of a bedtime story. But we forget the skinned knees and scraped faces, the arguments with friends, the loneliness of being away from home for the first time. The truth is that life was never perfect. Even as children, we experienced a full range of emotions. But looking back, it's easy to get caught up in the nostalgia and forget that childhood wasn't always easy. Secondly, we must remember that size isn't everything. Toys R Us was once the biggest toy retailer in the world. But being big and successful doesn't guarantee happiness. In fact, it can make a company complacent and slow to innovate. Finally, we need to be aware of our own biases. Many of us grew up with Toys R Us. For some of us, it was the best place in the world. But just because something makes us happy doesn't mean it's good for business. We need to be objective when assessing a company's performance and make decisions based on facts and data, not nostalgia. When this store closed in March 2018, an employee took a photo of the empty shelves and posted it online. The image went viral, and many people were shocked to see how quickly the iconic chain had disappeared. It was a sad end for a beloved toy store that had brought so much joy to generations of children. The stores were massive, often taking up as much space as an entire city block. The company was slow to embrace the shift to online shopping and failed to invest in new technologies. Ultimately, this led to its demise. They carried exclusive toys that you couldn't find anywhere else. And the aisles were always fully stocked, so you never left empty-handed. It almost felt like heaven. It was the best place in the world for any kid. I'm talking about Toys R Us. But now when you go to the mall, there isn't even a trace of it. Toys R Us was founded by Charles Lazarus in 19... He sold furniture for kids, but soon realized there was more money in toys. A leveraged buyout is when a company is bought using a large amount of borrowed money. In this case, $6.6 billion is a lot of money, and most of that was borrowed. The company was saddled with over $5 billion in debt. That's a lot of money. So Toys R Us had to spend billions of dollars every year just on interest payments, which left very little money for things like investing in new stores or updating their website. The private equity firms took billions of dollars out of the company in fees and interest payments, and the stores began to suffer. Toys R Us lost its edge. It couldn't compete with the low prices at Walmart and Target or the convenience of Amazon. Its sales started to slip, and it lost its status as the go-to toy retailer. The first sign of trouble came in the early 2000s, when online shopping started to take off. Amazon and Walmart disrupted the retail space and forced other businesses to adapt or die. But Toys R Us was slow to respond. Instead of investing in their own website, they made a bizarre partnership with Amazon in 2000. This meant that Amazon would sell Toys R Us gift cards and toys on their website. But this also meant that Amazon was selling competitors' toys on their site, driving sales away from Toys R Us. So Toys R Us took Amazon to court, which wasted valuable time that could have been spent focusing on their own e-commerce platform. In 2005, a group of private equity firms bought Toys R Us for $6.6 billion in what is known as a leveraged buyout. In 2017, the company filed for bankruptcy. The story of Toys R Us is a cautionary tale about the importance of adapting to changing times. So what can we learn from this story? Though the physical stores are gone, the brand still lives on. There's a line from the movie Big Fish that goes, "Every time you take a step toward the light, it takes a little bit of the darkness with you." If you grew up with Toys R Us, what was your favorite toy or memory? Share with us in the comments. Like, comment your favorite toy, subscribe, and see you in the next video.